Welcome to the Storytime English. Today's story is about a quiet man, a helpless puppy, and how a single act of kindness brought love and hope back into both their lives. Chapter 1. A Quiet Life. Thomas lived alone in a small wooden house at the edge of a quiet village. He was 35 years old, tall and strong from years of working as a carpenter. He built furniture for the people in his town, tables, beds, doors, shelves, always with care, always with silence. He was kind but rarely spoke. His heart had been broken 5 years ago, when his wife Clara died suddenly from illness. Since that day, Thomas had lost the light in his eyes. He worked during the day, sat alone in the evenings, and never made plans. His life was a routine: work, eat, sleep. There was no joy, no laughter, no noise, just silence. Chapter 2. The Whimper in the Bushes. One cold November morning, Thomas walked to the local store to buy bread and tea. The wind was sharp, and the streets were empty. On his way back, he took the forest path, a quiet shortcut he had walked hundreds of times before. He stopped walking and listened again. It was coming from the bushes near the side of the path. Carefully, Thomas moved the branches aside and looked down. Suddenly, he heard a sound, very soft, like crying, whimper, whimper. He stopped walking and listened again. It was coming from the bushes near the side of the path. Carefully, Thomas moved the branches aside and looked down. There, lying in the wet grass, was a tiny brown puppy. It was cold, dirty, and shaking. Its eyes were large and sad, and its fur was covered in mud. The poor thing looked lost and hungry. Thomas looked around. No houses, no other people. No sign of a mother dog. The puppy was completely alone. He knelt beside it. "Where did you come from, little one?" he asked softly. The puppy made a quiet sound, too weak to bark. Without thinking, Thomas took off his jacket, wrapped the puppy in it, and gently picked it up. "You're coming home with me." Chapter 3. A Name for the Puppy. Back at home, Thomas cleaned the puppy with warm water and a soft towel. He made a small bed near the fire with old blankets and gave it warm milk in a bowl. The puppy drank slowly, then curled into a ball and fell asleep. "You need a name," Thomas said aloud. He thought for a moment. "Lucky," he said finally. "You're lucky I found you. And maybe I'm lucky too." It had been a long time since Thomas had spoken to anyone with warmth in his voice. But something about the puppy felt different, special. Chapter 4. A Friendship Begins. The next few weeks were the happiest Thomas had experienced in years. Lucky followed him everywhere, into the workshop, around the garden, even to the store. He was small and clumsy, always tripping over his own feet, but full of life and energy. Thomas found himself laughing again. He played with Lucky in the yard, tossed him sticks, and even began talking to him like a friend. "You're growing fast," Thomas said one day as Lucky chased a butterfly. "You're going to be a strong dog." The house no longer felt empty. The silence had been replaced by barking and the sound of small paws on the wooden floor. Chapter 5. Trouble in the Night. Winter came early that year. One night, a heavy storm arrived. The wind howled. Rain hit the windows. The electricity went out, and the whole village became dark. Thomas lit candles and made a small fire to keep warm. He curled up by his feet and closed his eyes. But then, a loud crash outside. A tree had fallen across the road. Thomas ran out with a flashlight to check the damage. He didn't know that Lucky had woken up. Scared by the thunder, the little dog walked to the open door and slipped into the night. By the time Thomas returned, the door was swinging in the wind. Lucky was gone. Chapter 6. The Search. Panic hit Thomas like a wave. He grabbed his coat and ran into the forest. "Lucky, Lucky, where are you?" he shouted. The rain made it hard to see. The ground was wet and slippery. "Please," he whispered, "not again. I can't lose someone else I love." He searched for hours. The storm was slowing down, but the forest was dark. Just when he was about to give up, he heard a soft bark. Lucky. Another bark, louder. Thomas ran toward the sound. There, between two rocks, was Lucky. He had fallen and hurt his paw. He was cold, scared, and wet. Thomas pulled him out and held him close. "I've got you, boy. I've got you." Chapter 7. Healing and Love. Thomas took Lucky home and dried him with towels. He called the village vet, who said the paw wasn't broken, just bruised. Lucky would heal in a few days. Thomas didn't leave his side. He made soft meals, played gentle music, and even read old books aloud to the dog. Each day, Lucky got stronger. Thomas grew stronger too. Chapter 8. A New Man. Thomas was no longer the quiet, sad man people once knew. He started talking to his neighbors. He visited the park with Lucky every morning. Children ran up to pet the dog, and Thomas smiled and spoke kindly to them. He even joined a local group that helped rescue stray animals. "Every dog deserves a second chance," he said. Just like Lucky. He began repairing the town's animal shelter in his free time. People saw him differently now, not just as a carpenter, but as someone kind, someone strong, someone hopeful. Chapter 9. A Visitor. One summer afternoon, a boy knocked on Thomas's door. He looked nervous and held a paper sign. "Hello, sir. I'm looking for a lost dog. I think he might be yours now." His name was Max. Thomas looked at the photo. It was Lucky, but younger. "The same eyes, the same ears. I found him in the forest months ago," Thomas said. He was all alone. The boy nodded slowly. "My family had to move. We were poor and my parents couldn't care for him. We let him go, hoping someone kind would find him." Thomas looked at Lucky, who now sat at his side, tail wagging. "Do you want him back?" Thomas asked. The boy shook his head. "No, I just wanted to know he was safe." Thomas smiled. "He's more than safe. He's home." Chapter 10. Forever Friends. Years passed, and Lucky grew older, but never stopped following Thomas everywhere. Their bond only grew stronger. They were two souls who had rescued each other, one from loneliness, the other from fear. And every night, before falling asleep, Thomas whispered, "Thank you for finding me, Lucky. You're my best friend." And Lucky, with his tail softly wagging, would curl up close and close his eyes.